So after a pretty decent time in this series, we finally made it to the 04 Lakers, and just looking through my comment section and scrolling through all these Play Now Online videos, it seems like this team is a fan favorite. I know this is a squad that people were waiting to be in 2K for a long time, and even if you follow my main channel, this is one of the teams that I don't remember if I was actually asking for the squad to be in 2K, but I was predicting that 2K was finally going to add them, and I mainly wanted them for a prime Kobe because after he retired, or after like the last few years, we haven't really had a prime Kobe. We had the one from 2001, but we didn't have anything after that. So to be honest, I'm glad I was finally able to get this video to you guys, but I wasn't really that excited to play with them because as an overall team, they're way too overpowered. It's just like we thought they were supposed to be in real life. So in real life, this was a team that still won 56 games despite Kobe Bryant having the court case and Malone's knee injury, Shaq was missing games. With all those problems, this team was still 56-26, they were 6th in offensive rating and 8th in defensive rating. So I think that kind of shows you how dominant this team would have been if all that wasn't going on. But of course, none of that translates to 2K. So when you run into them online, all you have is a team with way too much power. And you know what, since I'm the one using them, that is the one thing I really like about this team, is that there's so much star power that really you can just kind of choose how you're going to defeat your opponent. And if you pick the 04 Lakers, I don't really think you have a good excuse to lose. I just dissect it player by player. First of all, you have Kobe Bryant, and a prime Kobe Bryant at that. And back when I used to accept matches from this team, I used to play against them a lot. And one thing I found is that Kobe Bryant is so good in this game that he just ends up doing stupid stuff. I'm talking like driving to the rim and doing 360 dunks in between like 2 or 3 defenders, driving baseline and doing reverse slams on anybody, which, to be fair, that is something he did do in real life. I specifically remember when he did that to Kevin Garnett, so it's not that 2K is really telling lies right there, it's that it pretty much just translates the cheese. So sometimes you can pick the 04 Lakers and win a game strictly because Kobe Bryant is out there dominating, and also he gets hot really quickly, so if you give him a little bit of space on the 3-point line, he makes one. Next time you come to the court, he fakes that 3 and gives you a mid-range shot. Now he heats up so fast. It's like that microwave factor, and that's a problem because then you still have Shaq to deal with, and I think that Shaq doesn't really have an answer in this game. You have Shaq on the Magic, you have Shaq on the 01 Lakers, the 04 Lakers. Every version of Shaq I've seen so far just does not really have an equal. But what separates the 04 Lakers from the 01 Lakers is that here you have Karl Malone, and you have some options with Karl. So the thing is, when I played most people with the 04 Lakers, or when they used the 04 Lakers, one thing I was seeing was that they didn't really know how to use Karl Malone. And if I had to find anything to dislike about the 04 Lakers, it's pretty much only that Karl Malone can sometimes work against the spacing. And you can pretty much ignore that because I'm about to show you what you can do to get rid of that problem. But when people were using the 04 Lakers against me, one thing I was noticing was that they're trying to dominate with Kobe and they're trying to dominate with Shaq. They're neglecting the rest of the team. And what ended up happening is you can just play off of Karl Malone for most of the game because for some reason a lot of these guys have their offense set up to where Karl Malone would be hanging around like the 3-point line or the corner somewhere, and Karl Malone, he's not useful from the 3-point line. He's not hitting any of those, and so that ruins the spacing right there. When Kobe Bryant is driving for a mid-range or Shaq is going in the post, that's a double team all day. But by virtue of having Shaq and Kobe and them being so dominant, even if Karl Malone isn't hanging around the 3-point line, people just neglect him in general. They don't pass him the ball, they don't post up with him because, like I said, a lot of people just don't like to try post moves or try to play back to basket, so Malone just kind of really hangs out there as dead weight. And when you're playing somebody with the 04 Lakers and you see that, that just means you can shift the defensive attention around and you can rotate back to him if they do finally pass him the ball. Even then, he's not really going to have a rhythm. For your typical opponent, he's not really going to have a rhythm, and if you can make him miss a few layups, then he's really dead weight. So Karl Malone can definitely work against people who don't really know what they're doing with this Lakers squad. However, if you do what you're supposed to do and kind of like share the love a little bit around this roster, it becomes really unstoppable. And in this gameplay, I actually finished 5 for 7 with Karl Malone. I had 10 points with him, which isn't bad because it's exactly what he's supposed to be. Kobe and Shaq are definitely supposed to come first. But even with that, Malone is better than like 1 for 4 with 2 points, which is what happens a lot when I'm playing against these guys. He's gonna be open a lot if you have a lot of defensive attention on Kobe and Shaq. He can hit a mid-range shot, so I just don't know why these people aren't really using him. One strategy I did see, and I don't think I have this game recorded, but I played against somebody a couple of months ago and he was actually bringing Karl Malone off the bench, and that's not a terrible strategy. I wouldn't do it just because I believe in having all the star power on the front line, but again, they have so much of it that that's a way you can utilize his roster. So if you want to have Horace Grant starting at the power forward position, and basically that means you have Gary Payton, Kobe, and Shaq on the court when the second unit comes in, because I will admit they don't really have much of a bench, you can have Karl Malone leading the second unit, and I think that's fine too. Now personally, I will always play him with the starting lineup just because I feel like he's the perfect third piece to Shaq and Kobe, but especially if you have a post game, I could definitely see bringing Malone out there and Fisher and maybe even keeping Rick Fox on the floor, or having Kobe and Karl Malone play together in the second unit. So not bringing Kobe Bryant off the bench, but having Kobe Bryant maybe start the second quarter and having Malone come in, and now you've got pretty much a star or two on the floor at all times. So basically this roster, however you decide to do it, they're dominant. And for me, I just don't pay attention to the 04 Lakers outside of this video I had to do. I played them a lot when the game started, and this is the one thing I hate so bad, that 2K took out the option to see who your opponent is picking, because to me the 04 Lakers are like the 2K13 Lakers. So back when you had Nash, Kobe, and Dwight and Pau Gasol, the only time I ever used that team is when I saw that somebody was going to use the 13 Heat, because I was like, well, if you're going to cheese, then I'm going to cheese. But if I come into this game with like the 08 Nuggets, that's not a good matchup. They don't have anybody to guard Kobe, they don't have anybody to really bother Shaq. I mean, Marcus Camby, yeah, he's a good defender, but you know, you can't really do much against that. I would much rather have the option to pick a better matchup against them, other than running into these blind matchups with a team that really should never lose. So I don't really mess with this team that much. I don't play with them ever, because why would you give Dom to Lakers? I've won games with teams that are way worse than this, so you give me the 04 Lakers and that's just not a challenge. There's no fun. As you can see, this gameplay was a complete blowout, and whether you're playing a scrub or a pro, this team gives you a really good advantage, so that's why I try to stay away from them. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on my future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys with the next team.